There's just the utter simplicity of what appears to be happening. It's too simple for the individual. It's too ordinary and obvious and immediately just whatever is appearing to happen. But whatever is appearing to happen is actually what's yearned for. It's when there's a sense of that really lived sense of separation, there's a lived sense of a big world out there and a little me here. And there's a sense that wholeness has been lost. There's me and the world. And that's a very dissatisfactory reality for the individual. Um, and whatever they think they're looking for or feel they're looking for, this suggestion is that actually what's being yearned for is not you getting anything or knowing anything or having anything, but it's actually just a loss, simply a loss of that sense that there's a big world out there and a little me here. It's just for whatever is appearing to happen, because when there's no longer that sense of a you, there's just boundless wholeness. It's very obvious. Eternity, infinity, unconditional love, whatever words you want to use, completely unknowable, indescribable, and inescapable. That's all there is. And in that seems to arise this sense of being separate. So we dig into that a bit this evening, um, in the sense of any kind of comments or questions about it, or um, that arise. We'll see if it's there. It just can be asked, and there'll be some sort of a response. And but this isn't about getting anything or knowing anything or understanding anything. It's all energetic, because that sense of being separate is actually an energetic, contracted sense of separation. So that this suggestion is about a resonance that's an energetic resonance in which that sense, that lived sense of being separate, can just be no more. And it's very obvious that it never really was. It was just a story, that there's just what's appearing to happen.
Hi. Hi,
Oh,
Kenneth.
hiya, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah. Nice song. I liked your song. It was cool.
Okay.
Yeah. You just have to, I would say work a bit on the hoarseness of the voice. Like,
Yeah, my voice isn't great. Yeah.
yeah. No, it's great. It's just like more self-confidence and more drinking, like water and, teas. Nice, nice. And louder, yeah, louder singing also, like, so that, but next song it's, yeah. um anyway, yeah, talking about this resonance is like so amazing. I just wanted to comment that, I don't know, it's like so fucking amazing that it's non-linear. I mean, like, for example, an individual expects, I don't know, like whatever his question or whatever kind of issue, and he expects like answer from whatever, like in a linear way. But this resonance is just like, this can come up from any kind of direction, because it's just like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like totally like holographic or whatever. It's like whatever can resonate.
Yeah, yeah, it's not describable really at all, but yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
it's like amazing. It feels like this is the biggest grace, this resonance. Because, for example, when it resonates in kind of a negative way, because there is loads of trauma or something, so there is like fear of engaging in life or whatever. But when it's all seen like as boundless love, it's just like this resonance, whatever is happening, like shit is happening, good things are happening, it's all seen as a present, like everything is a gift, like shitty gift, good gift, whatever, it's just a gift, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny that even what can happen can be, for example, I don't know, coming back to the place where this body was born, and yeah, didn't see this place for whatever, how many years. And yeah, people around, like parents and stuff, projecting all the stories, history, whatever, oh, how it was and so on. Like, and it's like felt as just loads of tension, like loads of, trauma and stuff. And then suddenly it's just like seeing the city, seeing the place where this body was born, and it's just like, it's just totally neutral. I mean, it's just like nice, beautiful city, and it's like just, ever fresh. It's like non-continuous, and it's just like that it can unravel somehow.
Yeah, that's what's happening there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Feels like freedom
Mm,
from all the shit stories. I love it. Like shit stories of me. I just love it. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks. When the separate me falls away, what continues to move the physical but sorry, there's something covering that. Yeah, physical body in the world of duality. So there is no world of duality, really. Duality is the individual, is a sense of duality. And the duality really is a sense that there's me in the world. So it's a sense of separation. And that's it's not that there's an individual who goes into a thing called duality, into a world called duality. There's a sense of separateness, which then appears as this sense of dualism, up, down, inner, outer, right, wrong, the world and me, life and my life, life and death, and so on. And what's been suggested is that actually that's all a story. It's just a story. So the sense, the lived sense of feeling separate, is just a story. There's no actual separate individual there, or there's no individual anywhere, and there never has been. So when the sense of being separate isn't there anymore, it's very obvious that there never was an individual, and actually nothing happened. So there's not really a falling away of the individual. Um, and what's obvious to nobody is there's only aliveness, you could say. It's indescribable, but there's only energy, bodying. So, with your question, what continues to move the physical body? Um, there's just body moving, energy appearing as body moving. Nothing moves the physical body. There's not two. And that's the way it is. It's very obvious that the individual is just an addition to what appears to be happening. So there's no individual anywhere, and there never has been. But what appears is that there's the appearance of an individual. So most people would report that they in fact have a life. They would be a very, very common thing for people to say, "I have a life," and then there's a whole story around them having their life, and what their life isn't a story; it's something they have, and it's real. So so you're imagining what's being suggested here um, as different than what's appearing to happen. And what's being suggested is there's only just what's appearing to happen. Already this is boundless wholeness already, simply sitting on a chair, speaking. This is it already. And in that, it's the individual, and the dream of the individual is artificial. So that artificial dream can just collapse, appear to collapse. So nothing even happens, because this is nothing appearing to happen. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Kenneth. just so this is it, exactly as it is. And then there's the expectation for something to happen. That is the artificial me wanting something to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sense that something is really happening. Like there's a sense, there's the individual is a really live sense of living in the real. So there's a lived sense of time and space and causality, and things are happening to me and around me and to other people. Um, so if there's a sense that there's something missing, then in that reality, something needs to happen. Then, in that same linear causal reality that will free the this character, and then there'll be wholeness then. So that's generally that's the same. The individual is in that reality of something happening all the time in time and space. So when it comes to this suggestion, it would logically be a sense for the individual that something needs to happen for me to fall away. Whereas actually what's being said is that this is nothing appearing to happen. This is nothing appearing to happen. So there's already nothing happening. It's appearing to happen only. So this is already just wholeness, boundless wholeness. Whatever is appearing to happen.
Even if it's total shit.
Of course, obviously. How could it not be?
Missing out something here, missing.
So pain appears and the individual feels that that's not it, it's pleasure. So it pushes away pain and pulls in pleasure, because there's that lived sense of separateness and pulling in one and pushing away the other, in this dream of duality. So it's not seen that just unpleasantness or discomfort or pain is just energy appearing as that, and really they're just only apparent opposites. The opposites are only in appearance. So that's obviously it, as much as anything comfortable or whatever. And then it's then like this is an illumination of just simply aliveness. It's just alive. That's what's yearned for, is just aliveness. Actually, the story doesn't even matter really. The content only matters when, for the individual who puts meaning on it. And then it's freedom. Then it's because there's just what's appearing to happen.
If there's just staying with what is, this is it. Does the separate me sort of get redundant? Does it sort of just drop away because it's got nothing?
It doesn't even drop away because it's not even there to drop away. There is no the sense of the separate me just is no longer there then. So like it's not that there's still a sense of a separate me, that an individual that is suddenly feels redundant. It's a story. So that lived sense of separation just isn't there. There's just what's appearing to happen. Whereas when there's a feeling separate as an individual, there's not just what's appearing to happen. There's me that it's happening to. And that's a really lived feeling. It's a lived reality for the individual. So all that can be done here is just I can't see an individual, so because it's not there is no individual, so there's just a sharing, and what's being shared is beyond knowing and understanding, so it'll just resonate or won't, or There'll continue to be a sense of being separate, or there won't.
But obviously the sense of being a separate individual is still it as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's not much consolation to the one that feels an incredible yearning and doesn't want to feel separate anymore.
No, that's right.
Yeah, but it is of course, because all there is aliveness or wholeness or energy, and that appears as feeling separate.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's just too simple.
Tony talks about the desert sometimes,
Mm.
being in the desert. So that's also what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, you like, it's just too simple. It's just too simple, Larry. Like, it's not a concept. It's not, there are no people who even know this. There are no teachers. There is no authority. It's just too simple. I cannot tell you how simple it is. You are already wholeness, unconditional love. Ask those. That is all those questions are from unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, well, this person said this and this person said that and that person said this, and like it's such a shock sometimes when it's seen. It's nothing to do with non-duality or your idea of non-duality, because there is no non-duality. All of these things are just pointing to the just the inexpressible immediacy of just whatever's appearing. Hands moving, sitting, a thought, or whatever. It's completely unknowable. Any idea you have of it can't be it.
Mm.
And that can
waiting
just,
for it.
Yeah, waiting for it. Yeah.
Waiting for anything forward, or say, or something special is also it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Of course, there's just energy, aliveness. So waiting for something special is what appears to be happening then. Whereas unconditional love is just screaming, like it's just this. There is no special. Special can only be from a sense of separation. Special, not special.
Yeah. Like we've talked about it before, the stunning part of it.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. There's nothing stunning about this.
Yeah, that's what's happening there then.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right, Larry. Hi, Elder.
Hello,
Oh, yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, confusing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no stopping of this questioning. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even I don't want to question, but it still happens. And
Yeah, of
there's
course
no,
there isn't. Of course, there's no you there. So there's either a question or there isn't. There's no problem with questions.
yeah, there's a lot of losing interest in listening to like spirituality or any other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I only like to listen to you and talking about no point at all and no understanding,
Yeah.
and there's no stopping of these listening to you.
Yeah, that's what's appearing to happen then, is listening to
Yeah,
this or some other communication or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. There's a sense of a strong agreement to it, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps happening. But
Yeah.
there's also some part keeps trying to trying to stop it, but it doesn't stop.
Yeah. Stop what exactly? Stop listening to it, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah. Okay.
turn away, or just get on with life, or I've got
Oh yeah,
exam
I
in
see. I know. I
September.
understand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, once it's just when it I would use the word resonance there, that it's resonating there. And when it resonates, sorry, mic is a bit high, maybe, yeah. When it resonates, it's all energetic, and that's what's happening. There's just there's a very, very, very strong, there can be a very, very strong draw to a clear communication that is from nobody, that is agendaless, and nothing else really compares. And then
Yeah.
there is that until there isn't. So that's the way it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, stay
It's
calm.
just what appears to happen. Yeah, there'll be a sense of wanting to hear this and maybe come to Zoom meetings or come to meetings or whatever. And that is just what appears to happen until it doesn't. There's nobody in there doing that or not doing it or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to see you. Hi,
Thank you.
Ryan.
Was that me, you said?
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Roisin for a second.
Oh, no worries.
What do you think about teachings? So I say that as I'm currently reading A Course in Miracles, and it's very good. And then there's other teachings that aren't very good.
I don't have any weight on any teachings at all. What's being suggested here it's not a teaching, it can't be taught at all. So for me, a teaching is just within the dream of separation. It's somebody it's an individual, an apparent individual, who speaks to another apparent individual and tells them how they can get somewhere. So it just really just is in the dream and feeds the notion of that there is a separate self. It's not wrong or right or anything. But it's just what appears to happen. So the individual loves teachings and has
Yeah,
a lived sense of authority, that authority is real, and that there are people who can teach the individual to find what they're looking for. So and that's very seductive, because it taps into that sense of unworthiness and a sense that there is a higher and there's an authority and all of that. So they tend to be quite popular. But a clear communication, if you ever hear someone who's clear, they'll be very clear that they're not a teacher. It'll be something that'll be really, really clear, that it can't be a teaching, because it's what's yearned for is unknowable. It's completely unknowable, ungraspable. So how could it be taught?
mm,
It's just a sharing. It can only be a clear communication, is just a suggestion or sharing. That's all. There's nothing to know, there's nowhere to get to. There's just what's appearing to happen.
yeah. As you were speaking there, I was just flicking. I flicked to a page in the book that um is called "The Passing of the Dream."
Mm,
And then there's a section that says, "I need do nothing." And then there's a line here that I can see. It says, "It always comes with just one happy realization. I
mm.
need do nothing."
Yeah.
And like there's certain things that just strike true. They resonate.
Oh yeah, there's certain expressions in lots of teachings or processes or religions or beliefs or whatever that sound totally non-dual or whatever, and they're fine. It's just overall there's somebody being spoken to, that they can choose to do something or not do it, in the vast majority of them. um And
Yeah.
that's it. And it's just what's is again, it's completely without any value. Or if someone finds themselves they think that they're on some sort of path, or they're doing some sort of practice, that's just what's appearing to happen. It doesn't have any significance. But it might,
Yeah.
in their story, they might feel it's very, very significant and important, and
Yeah,
that's
well, I did.
also
I
just what's
did.
appearing to them.
I was very much on a path, and it felt like it was a path with progress and all that there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then now that all feels, and that was very intense. Now that
Mm.
all feels literally like a dream, like I know that it happened, or it feels like it happened, but also it feels like it didn't happen at
Well,
all.
that's what's been suggested actually, that everything is and isn't, it's real and unreal. So it's real in its appearance is another way of putting it. So it didn't actually really happen. That's and
Yeah.
that's exactly what's been suggested. Because this is nothing being everything or appearing as everything. The sense that it's solid and real and really happened in time and space is only in the reality of the individual. Some people are calling it an interface, or, in more scientific terms now, from a quantum perspective, they're talking about this interface, and this interface of you and other people and objects and time and space it's in that reality, it's real, and it actually has no reality outside of that.
Mm.
So it's an appearance or a story, and a story. I always come back to, it's a story. Everything, it's a story, but the individual doesn't feel like a story. Like you say, that feel the individual would feel, I'm on a path, I'm here, and I got here by doing A, B, and C, and or so on. But this suggestion is actually very simple. It's that what's yearned for is actually just whatever is appearing, which is boundless, infinite, eternal,
Mm.
unconditional love. And that's all there ever is. There's no path to that. Because if there's a path to it, that means there really is separateness. There is separation. And then all of them, what you were referring to, teachings and all of them, that's they go off the premise that there's a thing called wholeness, and there's a separate you who can find it somehow. There's no
Yeah.
path to what already is and isn't. So
And
that
things
it's
like,
that lived sense of separation could just not be there anymore. And what's very obvious then is nothing even happened. There never was a separate me. It was always just a story. So it wasn't some path that it wasn't by some path that you arrived at wholeness or whatever. It's very simple. It's too
yeah,
simple. That's the difficulty. It's too simple. So the individual will just go back to teachings,
yeah,
prescriptive teachings that feed their story of them having a life, that they can do something to get somewhere.
yeah. Something that just keep popping it up into my head there, like it's another concept, but it's like parallel realities. Like when something shifts, it's like you jump into like a parallel universe where now that thing, it just doesn't, it's not appearing anymore, and it's just like you move on. It's like it didn't happen, but it
Mm.
feels like you just jumped into a new yeah, like a new universe, a new reality. But that's also like a, I know that's a concept, but
Mm.
um
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not like it wouldn't be describable at all. The sense, if there's no lived sense of separation, it's totally indescribable. Can't describe it. Nobody has ever can ever describe it. And what the common thing is that say and let's say, and yet it's stunningly ordinary. It's so simple and ordinary that I was constantly overlooking it in favor of this model of reality that was here, in which things had to be this way or that way. And all the while, it was just never gone anywhere. you'd gone looking for it and lost looking for it.
Yeah. All right. Kenneth,
Thanks,
very much.
Ryan. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hiya.
I don't know. My camera just works and then sometimes it doesn't. So it works today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of don't have a question now listening to enough this meeting, but what I was kind of wanting to ask was about like tragedy and irony
Mm.
and how, we don't, I can resonate with the fact that essentially things are empty or meaningless, but not in a hopeless way, or I guess in a hopeless way, but not in a negative way. But then there's, things like tragedy and irony and sometimes timing. It just seems as though there's some like plot to the story that seems to be, I don't know, it's almost like, I don't know, like there's something behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, it can feel like that way. If you feel separate, it feels like there's a plot or something behind it, or a sense of meaning and a sense of moving. Some people have a very, very lived sense of everything moving forward in a very meaningful way, in a progressive way. And then other people not so much, but then that's all the sense of feeling separate.
Yeah, I'm at a family like vacation, and it's there's almost a sense of wanting to embrace, the fleeting nature of these non-people that are just energy, but just have this common story,
Oh yeah,
and there's
yeah.
like, yeah, and like there's a beauty in it, but there's also, I don't know, this sort of like so much time with this message or just resonating in the unknown that I don't know, it's like I wish I could bring it together or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there can be almost like a painful sense of the individual, of the transitory nature of things and the beauty of what's around you, be it family and loved ones, and kind of wanting to have that and know it and feeling it like slip through your fingers like sand.
Yeah.
And it's almost painful.
Mm-hmm.
And that pain is the suggestion that you can't have anything. You can't have anything. Nothing is it's only an appearance that you can have somebody in a relationship, or have anything. And experience anything, and it can feel, when there's an opening to that, for the apparent individual, it can feel immensely painful, actually. In the same way that some people, the sense that they can come to the conclusion that they're utterly alone, just completely, totally alone, and everybody is. But that's a problem when you feel separate, an apparent problem. But actually, it's that there's only wholeness. So then it's different.
Yeah.
Everything is completely, it like I said, it's like sand through your fingers. It's like trying to catch air with a butterfly net.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing is, when there's no sense of being separate, there's just nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to know, but that sense of separateness is gone. So there's nobody who feels that they need to, because this is the separateness is gone out of everything. So trying to have anything is also gone because it's directly from the sense of separation. So all there is a song of unconditional love, nothing being everything. That's a bit of a story and sounds a bit poetic, but it's all just a play of light, and it can't be had or known, and it but also then it's gone the sense that you want to have it or know it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just really
Thanks.
enjoyed being here. Thanks.
Thanks. Nice to see you. Okay. Bertrand.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can't really turn my camera on right now, so
Oh, you're fine.
yeah, it's hard to ask a question, but I want to ask a question for some reason. Just don't know what to ask. It's just one big question mark. Like hearing the message, sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. At times in the past, there has been moments where let's say I feel a certain way. I believe that my life, there's some problem. I don't feel right. And sometimes you'll sit there and, I don't know, feel through it or something, not consciously. And some days I arrive in a place where it's a bit like, all of this is just because I don't know who I am. And suddenly there's a sensation like, oh, wow, I don't know who I am. Like if all this stuff I'm looking at is not me, including who I think I am. And then you start to slowly fall. It's like it's falling, but then it's kind of scary as well. So that's been going on some days.
Mm.
Kind of odd. There was also a glimpse a while back. Don't even know how it happened. It's really random.
Didn't happen, really. It only appeared to happen.
Yeah, so what I'm really confused is like how can someone totally feel as if something's wrong with everything, but still also at the same time resonate, and somehow by resonating just randomly say, like today I was journaling and I was listening to a video and suddenly I randomly wrote there's no way home, and I started laughing to myself because it seemed so accurate and I didn't know where it came from.
Mm.
So
Well, like nothing comes from anywhere. It's there's just aliveness, and aliveness is nothing being everything. You know, it's the individual that feels that things come from some place, and that there's a me, and that they have a beginning and an end, and so on. There's just the immediacy of whatever's appearing to happen. Then there's no individual in that. If there was pain and fear, then that's also it.
okay.
Do you know? I mean, it is terrifying to the individual. This, if it's really seen, this, it's terrifying. What's yearned for is your own absence, and what's most feared is your own absence.
Yeah, but I don't really know that. It's like I I could say sometimes I wish I were dead or something, like long to die. But I don't think it doesn't feel as it's the same thing as what you're saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was just picking up on something you said there. I thought there was a sense of real fear around it or whatever.
Yeah, there was. It was a bit like, yeah, like
It can be what I'm saying. Well, I guess what I'm saying is that when this resonates, sometimes people would have a tendency to equate that with something positive, but that resonance can be terrifying.
yeah. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much. But what I'm also confused about is sometimes through like I don't know what it is, like sometimes I journal and I like to reflect, because sometimes it everything feels really tough, or like I'm in situations and you get triggered by this and that. You feel like basically everything to do with you don't feel good enough, you don't feel complete, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know, well, not I don't know, but somehow you come up with, as long as you're living as someone, you'll always feel that way.
Mm.
But is that just some sort of like, intellectual knowing that's not really the experience of it? Because even though that's been sort of seen, it still does feel the same, more or less.
Yeah, that's what's happening there. So there's a sense of, there's there's journaling, so that's what's happening, and there's a recording or an observation of what appears to be happening, and some of that's, it sounds like it's going to always be like this, or it's going to be like that, or whatever, but sure, the individual has no idea what way anything is going to be. That all you can say is what appears to be happening at that time.
Yeah. And
So
it appears to be like trying to cling on to an answer, like, oh, I've got this. Now
yeah,
life will
yeah,
be
it would be.
fine.
Yeah, it would be. Like journaling is just what's appearing to happen. It doesn't have any meaning or significance, and it won't. Like, it's not that it will get you anywhere or anything, but it's just simply what appears to be happening. So there, it's just journaling is appearing to happen. Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything, or
Yeah,
um, yeah. So there you
lovely.
go. And maybe it
Really,
won't appear to happen. Like maybe
yeah,
journaling won't
maybe.
appear to happen, or
It's really on and off
it's all
sometimes.
just there's just energy, aliveness. Appears to be journaling there, and observations of this and that, and you know
Yeah.
the
Yeah, it can
individual is
feel,
kind of the knower. The individual is the knower, so it decides how things will be, though. This will be like that, or I won't get this, or da da da. So because it's in that knowing, it's very much decided. So the total free fall isn't, it can't be seen, the unknowableness of it.
yeah, quite hopeless, but
Oh, beautifully hopeless, of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel.
Hi. Okay.
Alder. Hi, Alder.
Hi. Sorry, I'm a bit confused with the video at the moment. Do you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you fine. Yeah, I can see you
Oh,
too.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just out of interest in your story of the past. Did you have some experience of third eye?
Some
That sort of
experience of what?
story.
Sorry.
Third eye.
The eye thought.
Like third eye, like the third
Or
eye
third
opening.
eye. Sorry, third eye. No,
Yeah.
like no, I mean there wasn't any real very little interest in esoteric stuff or spirituality or anything really. And then there was meditating, and then I just wasn't there. And then there was a trying to figure out for about a year what appeared to happen. And then it was hearing the open secret. It was very obvious that nothing had happened, and it confirmed that nothing had happened. And actually there was the whole meditation thing, there was the huge sense around it that like there was a really obvious scene that I hadn't nothing had actually happened, and I hadn't brought something about, and there was no path to what already was, and all of that. So all of that confusion then just kind of fell away then. So nothing happened then. That was it. But it was like whenever the sense of self appears to fall away, it doesn't have anything to do with really what the person appeared to be doing or not doing, which for the individual is just ridiculous, really, because of course it had to, because the individual is in that causal reality where one thing leads to another. So when they speak to someone who reports that or would suggest that I'm not a separate individual, and neither are you actually, but they would immediately, well, what happened to you? And the most obvious question for them to ask would be, well, what were you doing that led to that? And that the communicator would be saying, it doesn't matter what I appeared to be doing, because it was seen that there's no me here and that I never did anything. So it would even, we could even say that the falling away of the apparent individual it's an appearance, but it's even despite anything that appears to go before it, whether that's into the third eye or the chakras or the Buddhism or meditation or whatever, all of them things, the way I would see all of them things now is they would only really kind of help to reinforce an apparent individual. That's all.
Okay.
But then people think I'm being negative about them, which I'm not. It's also just a play of light. It's just what's appearing to happen.
Yes, I agree with you. What it appears is just appearance. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not getting into it. Although the story can sometimes like the body has this sensation.
Yeah.
And I'm having headache sometimes for no reason whatsoever, and it's nothing to do with medication, like or medicine. And there's some sort of appearance like a third eye. Sometimes it kind of similar to what some other people describe, but I am not being drawn into that.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's just what's appearing to happen there. Then, I mean that's energy, as what you're describing. Then, as what some people would describe as a third eye. I would just see what I hear when people say that is, well, that's energy. Then, as that's what's appearing to happen there.
Yeah, it's not important.
No, none of it. None. It's beautifully meaningless, everything, because it's a story.
Yeah.
The importance is when the story is real and it's really happening. Then, of course, there's importance on everything, or whatever the individual thinks there's importance on.
Yeah, and then you can go into whole lot of what others saying, what they believe, what their story.
Oh yeah, completely. It's never ending. It's never ending. The story just never ending, knowing, it just goes on and it gets more and more and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. So boring.
It's just like a spinning wheel, the individual. And it's like, if you think even the image of something spinning, sometimes there's nothing in the center.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous because that's the individual. It's all empty, actually, but it feels so solid and real. And there's a living in the real then as an individual. Everything is real. I'm real. It's a subject-object reality. We're moving. It's causal reality. But yet there's something about that that's really dissatisfying. And of course there is, because there is no separate you. So there's a yearning. Everyone who's feeling separate is contemplating being separate in one way or another. Even though maybe they wouldn't say they are, but everyone is. Once there's a sense of separation, there's a yearning. And however, that everyone is totally unique, obviously, because there's only oneness. So then it will play out differently for everyone.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter anyway, because there is no separateness anyway. So everyone will appear to die. And then it's all seen as a story anyway. But you'd either feel like a separate person until then, or not.
Yeah, luckily I'm not too bothered by the feeling of being separate.
Yeah.
Kind of not to worry about that.
Yeah, and then that's often how it is for people. It's just a sense that, oh God, there is no big bang or there is no thing, and then it's like, well, sometimes there's a feeling of being separate, but then then there isn't again, and then it's also just what's appearing to happen. It's just what's appearing to happen.
Yeah.
And it can be that one that feels that they are feeling separate is just not really there. And then if there's a sense of separation, it would simply be just another thing that appears to happen. Again, without any significance or yeah.
All just stories.
All just stories, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Who are we back to now? Bertrand.
I think it's Daniel.
I think Daniel went, did he? Oh, sorry, Daniel is back there, but Daniel didn't answer last time, did he?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you, Daniel, yeah. Could you hear me that time?
No, I was just grabbing my charger just when you called on me.
Oh, I figured you were asleep at the wheel or something.
Yeah. Last time we were chatting, towards the end of our chat, like the connection was kind of dropping away, so I couldn't catch everything you said, but you were talking about I heard some words. Something about trauma being contracted energy. Could that be what you said?
Yeah. Oh, we were talking on the phone, weren't we?
Yeah.
On WhatsApp. Yeah. So I was just saying that trauma is energetic because everything is just energy. So the difficulty with the trauma is that it feels to the individual like it's their trauma, and it's not a story, and there's a lived sense of being the one who's traumatized. So yeah, so for me, it's someone, if they feel trauma, then if they feel they want to do something about it, then that's logical, and that's what's appearing to happen. And there's loads more things now that people, kind of a movement away from maybe just talk therapy or whatever into different things. And that's just what's appearing to happen. But this communication then is a very simple, direct illumination that actually there's no you there that has trauma.
Yeah.
And then that lived energetic sense of being the one who has the trauma can not be there. That's indescribable. And there's just what's appearing to happen. But there would still be patterns of trauma, but there would no longer feel like it's your trauma.
Yeah.
But what the individual wants, though, really is, if I feel I have trauma, so I want a solution. I want a roadmap of a way out of it, So this is useless for that then.
Yeah. So before I got interested in this message, I used to, still am kind of like, one way that this body-mind approaches the trauma is in a kind of non-dual way, like feeling the repressed feelings as boundlessness. And I think
they're like the that's what's being suggested here, is that there's just energy. So the sense of being afraid or confused or whatever feelings arise with the trauma, they're just energy. It's just simply energy, and it's what's appearing to happen. So I mean, that for me, that's not a practice. So I can't suggest, if I felt it was a practice that would work, I would have could suggest it, but I can't. There's nobody I can suggest it to. But that is the suggestion being made, is that there's only simply whatever's appearing to happen. So what if that is whatever, all those negative things, that's energy as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, there does seem to be there seems to be a practice, because I seem to reflect, like if there's feelings.
Oh yeah, that's what's happening there. Yeah, that's what's appearing to happen there. Yeah.
like I ask myself questions like, could it be that this is just energy that doesn't belong to anyone? And then it seems that there's a shift.
Yeah, well, that's just what's appearing to happen. There's no you that's doing that or asking that.
Yeah.
That's just how it's been described there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just aliveness. That's all there is. There's no you that's speaking there now. There's just speaking.
Yeah, now I'm having that causeless joy, or it's appearing as well.
There you go.
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we've one more then. Bertrand, are we back to Bertrand?
Oh, yeah. Final. I don't know. Every time I raise my hand, I have a question. By the time I get here, I'm just like, what do I say?
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it can be very obvious that it's not really about answers at all or questions.
Yeah, very oddly enough.
It can be really obvious, like that there's nothing to get from this whole, like, we're chatting now for whatever. We seem to be chatting for about an hour, and it could be really obvious to somebody who's listening that this is resonating with that. It's just there is nothing to get. There's no answer, because there's not really even a question. It's just the immediacy of whatever's appearing to happen. Just boundless energy.
Yeah, it's very odd. And I keep trying to like, oh, maybe I should ask him this. But then like after a while it's just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, there's sometimes people come for meeting after meeting, never ask a question. And some people appear to have loads of questions. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But it seems like all the questions come out of I don't know, it's like, oh, this is important. I should ask him about
this. The
this.
question, like, this whole communication is there's a suggestion, and then the individual wants something from it. So that energetically the individual is coming with the question to get something.
Yeah.
And then normally, or usually, any suggestion like this, it would be that the individual comes and gets a takeaway. So they are offered something and they're told and they're fed something in some way, some sort of knowledge or whatever. And then that's how the whole thing appears to work. And then this feels quite strange to the individual, because they got a sense that the questions are there, but it's kind of sense that there's just nothing to get from this.
Yeah, it's really like slipping through.
Yeah. And then that is the boundlessness of this, and the just bomb, and it's just indescribable. This, if there's an openness to it, it's something beyond questions and answers. And
yeah, it's really fun. Like at the beginning of the meeting, I was just watching you speak. It's kind of odd. Like I'm not really hearing what your words are saying, but there's like it's like a little bit of a something like that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Very weird. Yeah, even but although sometimes outside, like when I just go on a walk, when there's feeling of contraction, like heavy contraction, it's quite obvious that it's like I'm looking, but I'm not really seeing what's there.
Yeah,
which can get quite claustrophobic, you could say.
Yeah,
it's like a cloud over your head. At least all the questions, it's just like
it's living in your own little reality in a bubble, and that reality can appear to be quite
sticky.
Yeah, and it can get more and more dissatisfying, actually. Maybe.
Oh well, anything can happen.
Anything can appear to happen.
Yeah,
but it's a dissatisfaction with the sense of you looking at things and seeing everything as an object to your subject.
Yeah, it's kind of like
there's always, like, the suggestion that is made here is always there. There's always just boundless wholeness. There's always just aliveness. Nothing needs to be known, or nothing needs to happen. This is nothing appearing to happen. So it's completely inescapable, like. So the newness can just the newness can just be very obvious. Everything is new. Everything is always new, completely, totally new, because it's nothing appearing as everything.
Yeah.
And the individual will never find the newness, because it's the very sense of being an individual that means the newness is, there's a staleness because there's a subject-object reality.
Yeah, nothing to say to that. It's like yes, but no.
Yes, but no, but.
But why? But please. But please, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Nice to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Kenneth.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See you soon. Yeah.
That was lovely. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.